Ladies and gentlemen, put down that sandwich and shake those butts, because it's time for Abatage's super fun, happy game of the year, but not really award video thing-amajig. Yes, it's that time of year when we all get to talk about the best games that came out over the past 12 months and bitch on the internet over which one's better than the rest. But I don't think there is such a thing as one game of the year, so I've put together the following list of games that I had fun playing for one reason or another. I've only included games that I've played and games that came out in 2013. So all those early access titles don't fit the bill because they're not officially out yet. Let's get to it! Best non-story game that was good but the story kind of sucked. Tomb Raider. That's right, Tomb Raider. I really enjoyed this game. It was a lot of fun, but damn, the story sucked. And as a fan of previous Tomb Raider games, they did change it up a lot. There was fuck all puzzles, like the platforming was terrible. It's basically a corridor shooter, but not, and very light puzzle elements, and it's very linear. And let's face it, do you want a linear Tomb Raider game? No. So if you forget about the lore, and if you forget about the previous games, Tomb Raider is actually a pretty good game. It looks really good. I had a lot of fun playing it. I don't care if it's meant to be shit, but it was good. It's just you got to suspend the belief that it's in the Tomb Raider franchise, such as with a lot of these reboots that they keep coming out with these days. But this was a good one. You've just got to get beyond the whole fact that it's meant to be Tomb Raider. Because it's not. It's really not. But it's still a fun game. So, I enjoyed it. Best ambient / nostalgic soundtrack that was probably only good because of the nostalgic bits. Gone Home. Yes, Gone Home, the game that has sparked many a debate on the internet about whether it actually is a game. And if you want my opinion, screw that, it's a game. You play it. It's a game. Sure, it's a different style of game that we're not really used to yet because people are actually branching out into different genres and different styles. But hey, that's what we want to see because this is gaming we're talking about. We want it to grow. I'm kind of a bit sick of the whole hero fantasy thing, and it's nice to see someone doing something different. But my god, that soundtrack. Well, the ambient soundtrack, the original score, is pretty fantastic in my opinion. It's got a really good tone. It's wonderful to listen to just on its own. I've got it on my iPod and I listen to it quite often, all the time, because it's just great background music for while you're doing other things and while you're just pottering around and doing that sort of stuff. But oh my god, did I have fun cruising through that house finding all the old cassettes of different bands, different Riot Girl bands and punk bands, and just popping them into a stereo and having a listen while you explore all the clues and all the little bits and pieces that are in the house. And wow, that gave me a lot of thrills. If you've seen my screenshots on Steam, you'll know I took plenty of screenshots of just different tapes that I picked up, and that's about it. So for that reason, it brought up a lot of nostalgia for me because I have some sentimental connections to those bands and that sort of music and the whole Riot Girl thing and the grunge era and early 90s and that sort of stuff, and it really just, it's my kind of thing. But hey, it's not everybody's, and that's kind of the way it goes. Best adventure game that should have been longer because it was so freaking good. Lily Looking Through. Yep, I played through it on the channel. There'll be a link on the screen somewhere. Lily Looking Through is an amazing adventure game. It's so well put together. They haven't tried to overdo it, but they've overdone it in certain areas which are key, like the animation is so fluid and beautiful and just looks wonderful, but they haven't overdone it and made it too complex and too stupid and just ruined it in the way that a lot of adventure games do. It's a very simple game, it's a very peaceful game and lovely game. It uses a lot of colour and sound kind of cues. There's not a lot of dialogue, which I really like because when there is dialogue, it really punctuates the scene quite a bit. It's got a story where there's a girl saving a boy. Oh my god, revolutionary. I know it really shouldn't be, but hey, that's a plus, but that's not why I enjoyed it so much. The reason I enjoyed it so much was the soundtrack, the tone, the art, the overall slick, well put together presentation of this adventure game. And the puzzles I found were challenging, but not so challenging that I was bashing my head against the desk, which is always a good measure of how good an adventure game is. And of course everyone has different levels, but for me, this game was thoroughly enjoyable. As soon as I'd played the demo, I knew I wanted to buy it, and as soon as it came out, I downloaded that thing, I bought it on Steam, and played it. And wow, was it satisfying. But I don't think it could ever reach a length where I'd be satisfied, so that's why it could have been longer. Only because I want more. I'm thoroughly looking forward to seeing what the next game that comes out of that studio is, because I think there's a lot of talent there, and there's a lot of talent for the style and the design of the game, as well as building the actual game and making it work. So Lily looking through, there's that one. What's next? Best took ages to come to PC but was worth the wait game. Fez. Fez is one of those games that I was just looking forward to so much to come out on PC after it hit the Xbox, and after watching Indie Game the movie and all that kind of thing, and of course the extra long development cycle. But once it finally did, and I loaded it up and started playing and got into all the deep complexities that are in that game, I loved it. It's amazing. And I personally didn't have any problems with it as far as bugs and all that kind of thing, although I did hear it was fairly buggy and it's got that reputation and rah. But having said that, I loved every minute that I had with this game, and there's just so much to explore and so much to find out, and all these confusing different pathways to get around the place. I mean, the map itself is confusing. If anyone knows what I'm talking about, you'll know. And yeah, it's a wonderful game, and especially considering that it was made by essentially one dude and a couple of others who helped out here and there. But for all the controversy surrounding Fez and Phil Fish and all that kind of thing, forget all that. This is actually a really good game, and it's one that should be on your radar as far as I'm concerned, because it's just brilliant. And I had lots of fun with it, so that's why it's on this list. Thank you very much. Best what the fuck, this game was made by one dude and is awesome game. Dust, an Elysian Tale. Or an Elysian Tale. It depends however you want to say it. But my god, this game was fun. This game came out of nowhere for me. I used to work with a guy who did one of the voices in the game, and that's why it got onto my radar. Otherwise I might not have ever picked it up. But I picked it up just to check it out and to support them, and you know, all that kind of thing, and my god is it good. It's so well put together. It's got a very distinct art style and things which may put other people off, and it's not really my favourite art style, but as far as how the game plays and how it's put together and all the little bits and pieces, it's a really solid game. There's great combat in it, there's a great progression system, there's just a cool world to explore because it's a bit funny and funky, but it was all done by one dude, with the help of some other people, but mainly one dude. And that is just impressive. I mean, it blows me away. And it impresses me like there's no tomorrow. And especially, and this is part of the reason why this is the award, but my own personal experience with it was when I first got the game, it wasn't using my GPU at all, like my graphics card. It was all loading the entire game onto the CPU, which was a bug, and it was pretty shit. It meant that I couldn't play it because it was overheating everything, and it was just going hard, way too hard on the CPU. But people posted about it in forums, I posted about it in the forums, and that sort of thing. The guy worked on it pretty solidly straight away and fixed it within like a few days, and communicated with people and all that sort of thing. So I had a really good experience out of a bad experience with this game. And I think that's the best thing you can do when you've got bugs and that sort of stuff as a developer, is just communicate at the very least. Like, communicate that you are working on it, and here's the problem, and this is what you're doing, and here's your priority, and that sort of thing. Because it just makes a gamer like me satisfied that to know that, yeah, okay, these things take time, and Stuff messes up, that's how it goes, bugs happen. We all know that that occurs, especially on PC. But if we know that someone is paying attention and cares about it and wants you to have the best experience you can have and is working hard on fixing it, that's all you need. That's all I want. I just want to know that they're trying. And these guys blew me away like there's no tomorrow with the amount of good communication, good work, and good-natured kind of response, I guess, to the problems that came up in their game. And that was the only problem I had, to be honest. Like, it's not like I had heaps of problems. But the actual game itself is very enjoyable and very worth checking out. And I'd say even just watch some videos on YouTube or do something to see what one dude has come up with, because it's pretty awesome. Best, I love everything in the franchise, but the reboot is great either way. And why was Kratos in the PS3 version? Thank fuck he's not in the PC port game. Mortal Kombat. Yep, I bought this on PS3. In fact, I imported it from overseas because it wasn't released in Australia straight away. But don't tell anyone. And I love Mortal Kombat. This is a simple award to give away. I mean, Mortal Kombat is just my favourite fighting game franchise of all time. I love the characters, I love the lore. I really like how this reboot kind of gave a alternate reality kind of origin story for each character, which was a really nice touch because they kind of respected the current lore that's in place, because let's face it, it's already kind of reached its conclusion. But they managed to reboot it in such a way that it makes sense, and it was really cool playing through each character's story. I mean, this game has the best, hands down, fighting game single-player story mode out of any fighting game I've ever played. It does a really good job of exposing you to all the different fighters, but also making it interesting and giving you lots of different challenges along the way. Not to mention the infinite amount of content. Well, okay, it's not infinite, but it's a lot. The amount of content that there is in this game, with the challenge tower, with the crypt to unlock, with the arcade modes, the multiplayer modes, the online, the story mode. There's just so much to do. And this, if anyone wanted a fighting game and wanted a really good one, I'd say go get this one, because it's awesome. And the PC port is actually pretty good, so that's a bonus too. Best early access title, even though I said there'd be no early access, but I still really enjoyed this game, so I'm putting it on here anyway. Assault Android Cactus, no surprise there, no surprise at all. You've seen the videos on my channel. I love this game, but the reason I love it as well, and the reason I've decided to put it on, even though I said no early access titles, consider this an honourable mention if you really want. It's not really an award maybe, because it hasn't come out yet. But the reason I wanted to put this on still, and give it a mention, is because it's an example of a really well done early access scheme, I guess. It's a great example of how to do an early access game correctly, and by releasing content that's not so buggy that you can't even begin to play it with any kind of enjoyment. Instead, with every update and every patch, this game has more content for you to play that's at a state where it's pretty much finished and it's not going to mess up on you, and they just keep adding more and more stuff, and it's a really great game to be following the production of, I guess. So I had to mention it here because I've had so much enjoyment out of this game in the last few months of the year since I checked it out. Demo on Steam. All the links for all of the games I've mentioned here will be in the description, so please check them out and watch some videos and see what's happening. But that's it. That's all I've got. There were other games I enjoyed, sure, but these are the ones I wanted to mention and highlight and kind of go, hey, check out these games. If you only check out these ones, these are the ones to check out. And let's always remember that this is all very opinion-based, and does it really matter? No. But hey, what were your favourite games of the year? Let me know. I'd be happy to hear some stuff and check out some stuff that I might not have seen, and I'd love to know what everyone else had fun playing today, so leave a comment if you feel like it, or hit me up on Twitter or wherever. Links in the description, of course. Tell me about the games that really made you happy to be a gamer in 2013, because that's what it's all about. It's about, wow, I'm so glad that I am a part of this kind of community where we get to experience these wonderful games and these wonderful experiences and all these different things. And yeah, share it all up. So here's to another great year of games and all-round good times. And as always, thank you so much for watching, and Happy New Year! Have a great one! Goodbye.